State your name for the interview.
My name's Adam Masatib.
What would you say is your cultural background?
Well, I've lived in Israel for 2 years, as well as visited every year in the summer for a good chunk of two to 3 months. So I would say I'm half Americanized and half Israeli.
Would you say that culture affects the decision-making process when you shop or buy any item or service, and how?
It definitely would. When we go to Israel and whatnot, we have different kind of snacks and different kind of services that they provide that you just can't find here. So when you do go to a store and you see one of those products, you get excited like a little kid, and you want to go back to your memories as a little kid. And you definitely buy stuff that you're familiar with, you're comfortable with, and that you know already from your hometown, that you grew up on, that it's good already.
What about stuff that are here? Like, is there anything that you would buy specifically because of your culture?
I mean, to try out, definitely if something has a Hebrew text on it or something like that, I would definitely give it a try rather than trying different things that I'm not familiar with.
How much of what you buy as a consumer is rooted in your cultural preferences?
Uh, I would say I would say it's 50-50 because yes, I am Americanized and I do go out to eat in different places, but due to the fact that I am from the Israeli subculture, I go out to eat places like hummus, if anyone is Middle Eastern and they know what it's like, falafel, stuff like that. Again, stuff that from back in Israel that you can remember. You try and go and find something compatible.
Okay, so you said previously, like, if there's Hebrew wording on the products, then you would try. Is that with everything?
Most again, it's a general preference when I go by, but for example, if it's something sweet or chocolate or something small, I would try it. Not everything because I'm picky with food sometimes, but if it has Hebrew subtext, then I would try it. Yes.
What if it's not food? Is there anything that you would say is Israeli or towards the Jewish culture?
I mean, when I go into a store and somebody starts speaking with me in Hebrew and whatnot, that gets me into my comfort zone, and I definitely would give the store or the product or whatever they're trying to sell me another try because they're more of my people. So I would want to get to know it, understand it, try it once, and if I like it, I come back.
And does the media that you use affect your consumer behavior? Like any Israeli or Hebrew stuff you listen to?
Definitely, there's media that they review foods and whatnot and other such items that come out from Israel, like a lot of USBs or processors that come from Israel that are very top quality. That definitely I read the consumer affairs, and because it's from Israel, I can trust it and guarantee it because they are one of the higher rated countries based on technology as well.
Being the owner's son, how do you think Gary took culture into account when opening his shop?
Well, when he opened the shop up in '96, I would definitely say there were a lot of. He's from Russia himself, and he moved to Israel when he was about 11, and then he moved here when he was about 22. So I would say his culture itself is rooted in the Russian preference, and then Israeli, and then American. But definitely Russian speaking and Hebrew speaking people are in the area, so it's an advantage to him because he can speak the language, he can maneuver, and again, when you come into a store and somebody's speaking your language, you can always interact with them in a more fluent and positive manner.
Do you think the culture affects ownership or management more? And how does it play out in the shop?
I specifically in this shop, I believe that management and ownership, it comes from the same culture, so it doesn't have that much effect. But in general, I think management has more effect on the culture that is being influenced, because again, the owner is the owner and he doesn't always have to be there. The manager is always there supervising, looking after, taking care of, and he or she at the end of the day is going to do what they think is most best for that environment.
When gaining the position of ownership, seeing how the shop is run currently, how will you take culture into account, if you will?
Well, right now we have mostly the Jewish culture in our shop. Like we have Passover specials, come get your car. A lot of Jewish people like to fix their car during Passover. They like to take their car on road trips to Florida and such. So we have specials such as come in for Passover, get your vehicle inspected, make sure it's in tip-top shape. But to definitely review and take into account every other culture and try and play into that factor, and try and see what they need, what times of the year they need their vehicle service, and when they need it the most, and definitely have specials such as when Christmas time comes around, they could get their vehicle service, and specials like that that peek into their key interests.
I spoke to Gideon earlier, and I just wanted to know how you think he takes culture into account when he manages the place, as opposed to Gary when he's not there all the time. But do you think that Gary has a say in culture?
Gary definitely has a say in culture, because he is the boss after all, and he provided an environment for everybody, and being the boss, doesn't matter who it is, he has the final say in everything. But Gideon, what I like about him, he plays into everybody's subculture, and he makes everybody in the shop feel equal on the same level, whether it be a phrase or like little keywords that he says that makes everybody feel more homey, like in a better environment, and he makes them feel like part of the family, even though he doesn't really know their culture. He just tries and he feeds off it in a way that's comforting, so the people actually get what they're looking for.
And how do you say you take culture into account when you're working there?
I definitely, when I look at the Jewish people and whatnot, and the Hebrew speaking people, I definitely go and try and speak with them in the language, so they know that they're comfortable with me, that I'm one of them, that I'm not trying to rip them off or whatever. Again, I am a young person. I'm in my 20s. When people come in with young people with flashy cars, I always try and sell them accessories, rims, speakers, whatever it may be, because that's what they're into. African Americans more, they also like their wheels, they like loud sound systems, they like custom trims in their cars. So you gotta basically see each culture, basically they have what they like, what they're looking for, and you just have to know what they give them.
Okay.